Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Shruti-smriti-purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat-padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya-krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Samasta-jana-kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma-vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma-vidvaram.
Hari Om. So today we'll have the question answer session until noon. Swamiji has received quite few questions from all the 4 study groups. So Swamiji will read the question, and then we had a same session yesterday, and those who have not come will have the audio on our website. So please, it was an excellent session and got our doubts cleared yesterday. So we have quite few questions, and we'll go from there. If the time permits, we'll also get the question from the floor. Hari Om.
So the first question, Lord Krishna addresses Arjuna by many different names. One of those is Anagha, sinless. How can Arjuna be called sinless when he is about to kill his dear ones? Whose question is this? Okay, that person is not there? Huh? Okay. How can Arjuna be called sinless when he is about to kill his dear ones? So this is the question. You see, Whether an action is punya or papa, meritorious or sinful, what decides whether an action is punya or papa? It is the, intention behind action. Action by itself is not good or bad. It is the intention which decides. So therefore, if the intention is good, even the killing of someone can be meritorious. For example, the soldiers in the borders, they will have to kill the enemies, the terrorists, etc. So that killing, and for that killing, that person is awarded, rewarded, recognized, promoted, isn't it? So therefore, an action by itself is neither good or bad. It is the intention. So if the intention is good, killing one's own near and dear ones is also meritorious. So I think this question is clear. Okay, next one. Chapter 3, verse 14 and 15. In Swamiji's discourse, Puja Gurudev's explanation compares rain as conducive environment needed for producing profit. So annam is profit and the rain is conducive environment. Working together with yajna spirit results in cosmic forces making arrangements for us to be prosperous. Please expound on this. How yajna spirit brings prosperity. How rain brings food. So Puja Gurudev's explanation is given there. Wherever there is yajna spirit, there is prosperity. So more explanation is asked here. You see, in every field this can be seen. Many times in sports we see this. Individual team members may not be great, but when those team members have great team spirit, that team constituting of ordinary players, they are able to defeat even a team having individual giants but no team spirit. Yes or no? So in this team, each one is great, but there are egoistic clashes, competition, each one doesn't like the other, infights. So as a team, when they come, as a team it is a weak team, though individually they are great. So many times we find that a small team is able to beat this big team. So that conducive environment, so here victory is the food. Annam is something which you enjoy. So annam is always not food. Something which you enjoy is also called annam. So what is that which you enjoy? Victory. So that is the food. And what is a conducive environment? The environment which leads this small team to win over the big team. That environment is called rain. Another famous example. I am not a politician, but sometimes I analyze politics. Okay? I am neither BJP nor Congress, but I analyze. I don't know. Whose question was this? Okay. So nobody has to take a responsibility then. In Indian politics, if you are observing, I don't know how many of you follow that, for the last 3 consecutive terms, BJP has been winning and Congress has been losing. What is that one reason because of which BJP has been winning? It is this team spirit, yajna spirit. What was the first one? 2014, I think. 2014 election, if you see this BJP, they had elderly politicians, Murli Manohar Joshi and L.K. Advani. They were the leaders of BJP for so many years. But then they found that here is a youngster winning consecutively the chief ministerial election in Gujarat, consecutively 3 times. So then they felt that this man has the leadership quality. This man has the ability to lead the nation. All these elderly people, they stepped aside, they brought this person on top. Who was he? Narendra Modi. And then, so this is called as yajna spirit. If I find that in my team there is somebody who is capable, I must step aside. My ego should not say, no, I am. No, step aside. Give way for the people who are more efficient, more talented, more capable. That is called as yajna spirit. Dissolving your ego and egocentric desires, personal differences, opinions. Can you come together? That's the question. On the other hand, what happened in Congress? They were all surrendered to one dynasty, Gandhi dynasty. That person there is incapable, not capable. There are very many capable people, but not giving way. So then what happened? Failure after failure, and still they are not learning lessons. So this is what is happening. See, as I told you, I am not a politician. But I analyze politics based on the scriptural teachings. So that environment, because of which BJP won, that environment is called rain. And what is the food there? Annam. Victory, power, all those things. That which you enjoy. Power is something which you enjoy. Victory is something which you enjoy. That is called as food. Yajnad bhavati parjanyah. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha. Yajnad bhavati parjanyah. I hope it's clear. Next question. I have been a Durga Ma devotee. Now here that person has to say. You can't say it's a collective question. Huh? Oh yes, okay. I have been a Durga Ma devotee since my childhood, as she is our house deity. At some point during my teenage years, I was really inspired by ISKCON teachings and started reading all their books, and I started to bond with Lord Krishna, considering him as my best friend to whom I would talk privately and confide in everything. However, then life took over and I lost that special bond. But my bond with Devi Ma grew even stronger. Incidentally, after marriage, I also started worshipping Lord Venkateshwara, who is my husband's family house deity, and understood so many aspects of his worship. Now, as my study of the Bhagavad Gita progresses, there is the unmistakable definition of true consciousness as being relatable to Lord Krishna. So when I am doing my japa and meditation, I am often in a dilemma as whom should I focus my mind on? I know the Lord said in Bhagavad Gita that he is all the gods, but when I am meditating on Lord Krishna, I feel guilty of not being able to devote time for my Devi sadhana. Could you please suggest the path, as I feel as if I am ignoring Mother Goddess with whom I have a very deep connection? Yes. So, this guilt feeling is because of lack of understanding. Okay. And in fact, this topic will come in chapter 9. Yepi anya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. So this verse will come in chapter 9. Those people who worship other gods, they are also actually worshipping me only, but with the wrong attitude, wrong way. This is the statement there. So here, we have to be very clear. In Hinduism, there are so many gods: Rama, Krishna, Ganapati, Hanuman. You can include Allah and Jesus also. Whatever be the gods, remember there is only one God. And where is that God? Right in my heart, as the very consciousness in me. How you want to relate to that God, choice is up to you. Any relation is acceptable. In fact, multiple relations are also acceptable. Because there are times when I want God to be like a mother. What is the unique feature about mother? Full of love, full of compassion. Never finding my fault. In spite of my weaknesses and faults and defects, she loves me. So such a pampering, loving, forgiving, compassionate mother, sometimes we want. So that is a motherly aspect. Nothing wrong in worshipping that mother. There are times when our emotional personality takes over. It is better to worship Lord in a motherly form. But what is the problem with mother? Too much of pampering will spoil the child also. So therefore, sometimes fatherly figure is also needed. What is fatherly figure? Strict, disciplinarian. I'm not talking of fathers of nowadays. In the olden times, fathers used to be like that. Children dare not go to father and talk. Whatever they want to ask, they will ask mother only. Mother has to go to the father. So generally, fathers are strict, very disciplined. You can't talk too much in front of him. That kind of personality also is needed. But that alone will not do, because then the relationship becomes dry. So we need a fatherly form and we need a motherly form. Just like the world is taken care by sun and the moon. The scorching rays of the sun, that is, sun. But at the same time, there should be a cooling rays of the moon also. Both are necessary. A loving aspect, a loving factor, and a strict factor. Both are necessary for a healthy growth of our personality. Like the potter making the pot. This is another example we give. So both the hands are used. One hand is a supporting hand, the other hand is the beating hand or shaping hand. So sometimes when we feel that, we are completely down, depressed, etc., a motherly worship will be of great benefit. So therefore, worship in whichever way you want, but understand God is only one. Right. I think I have answered. No. Guilt should not be there. Guilt is coming from wrong understanding. Right. Question number 4. How to reconcile trying to engage in service activities with Yajna spirit when those activities at times have interactions that agitate your mind? If you avoided those activities, your mind would be peaceful. Whose question? Who? Oh, okay. Yes, this is one issue generally we find when we come to, especially these organizations, when we come to serve. Sometimes during service, some interactions can agitate your mind. You are coming to do seva, but some ego clashes will be there. You see, so here it is said, if you avoided those activities, your mind would be peaceful. So if you don't come, I think it is better. You see, you have to understand this, especially when we are doing selfless service in such organizations, you have to understand this very clearly. There is the lowest one, which is called as tamasic attitude. What is tamasic attitude? You come to do seva, you find some politics there, some, problems, agitating interactions there, and then you leave and say, I don't want it, better I'll keep away. This is a tamasic attitude. This is exactly the attitude of Arjuna. In the battlefield he says, Bhagwan, I don't want to fight, let me withdraw. This is the first attitude. It's a tamasic attitude. You are escaping from the problem. The second attitude is what? There is a unhealthy interaction and you fight your way with your anger, with your ego. That is a rajasic way. That is also not good. Then there is a sattvic way. What is the sattvic way? There is an interaction and which is hurting you. But then instead of saying that because of these people I am hurt, you say no. Somewhere my interaction with the world is not good, that is why I am hurt. Remember, almost always, I can say 99.9999 cases, I am hurt because of my own inflated ego. So therefore, that interaction, if it is hurting me, who is the cause? I am the cause. Somewhere there is a wound, pus is there, somebody touched it, and now there is pain, and then I am saying, because of this person, I am in pain. You are in pain not because of that person. You are in pain because there is an unhealed wound. Try to heal it. So what is the proof that the wound has healed? Even amidst all this interaction, your mind is peaceful. Now, this is the challenge. Not escaping the situation, remaining in the situation, and trying to constantly help yourself evolve. And what is the proof that you have truly evolved? Any interaction, your mind is at peace. You are handling egoistic people, you are handling difficult people, all kinds of people are there. In spite of that, can you keep your mind at peace? Then you have won this battle. Everybody has a battle, not just Arjuna. In the workplace, in the family, any situation which is disturbing my mind, understand the problem is not with the situation, the problem is not with the people involved, the problem is with me. And remember that disturbance is a voice of God asking me to correct myself. Every disturbance has to be taken like that. Somewhere I am wrong. So this is the Maha Mantra. What is the Maha Mantra? If I am disturbed, I am wrong. Generally, what is our mantra? If I am disturbed, somebody is wrong. The ego is a smart fellow. He wants some scapegoat to blame. Because the moment you put the blame on others, then I don't have the responsibility of improving myself. This is what the ego does. It projects one's own imperfection upon somebody and then relaxes. As a spiritual seeker, you have to be very careful with this danger. Every disturbance, at that moment when you are disturbed, you will not be in a position to think. You will be constantly blaming others. But next day, early in the morning, bring back this disturbance after prayer and try to find out where you have gone wrong. Don't allow the mind to relish the defects in others and to relax. Don't allow that mind. It's a great danger. It will never allow you to progress in this path of spirituality. Amma, is it clear? Okay. Next one. Next two questions I am going to take together, 5 and 6. So what is the question number 5? Referring to invocation verse in Tattvabodha, which says, Mumukshunam hitarthaya tattvabodho vidhiyate. The question is, what makes one to become mumukshu? What is the qualification of a mumukshu? The next question is, if one is already happy and not bothered by cycle of life and death, does he or she will ever be drawn towards Vedanta? If a person is already happy, he is not bothered about cycle of birth and death, will he be drawn to Vedanta? Whose question is this? Tattvabodha class? 5th one? Okay, 5th one is yours. Mumukshu. 6th one? They're all is a group question. Okay. Now, since the question is of this nature, I have to be little harsh. Okay. I am already happy. I don't care about birth and death. Should I still come to Vedanta? You see, this I am already happy it's not actually happiness. It is ignorance. See, many people in the society without any Vedanta, they appear to be happy. That happiness is born out of insensitivity. Please understand this. Any sensitive person in this world cannot be happy because this world is a slaughterhouse. I am sorry if you are disturbed. The purpose is to disturb you only. This world is a slaughterhouse. Everybody will be slaughtered one day or the other. It may be because of some accident, it may be because of some cancer, some tumor, or at least old age, so definitely it has to come. Now in this slaughterhouse, you know the slaughterhouse, the goats, they are kept, they are in a queue. And now this goat in front, his own friend is slaughtered and hung. The fellow is eating this green grass, happily, munching the green grass. No, this attitude, will it call wisdom or insensitivity? Next I am going to be hung. But I don't care. And in the label of wisdom, I am a wise person. See, I am happy. Even when all these are things happening, I am a very happy person. You are a fool. Next is your turn. And this fellow eats that grass happily. A similar story comes in Bhagavatam also. Here's a person who is chased by lion. And then he stumbles across and falls. He's going to fall into a well. Then there is a branch. He holds on to that branch. And that branch, by that time he knocks one honeycomb. Now he is hanging. And the branch is eaten by 2 rats. So that branch is also going to fall. And below is a well. A dry well. So anyway he will die. And in that dry well there are crocodiles and some python, etc. So even if he doesn't die, those fellows will kill him. Outside the lion is waiting. So even if he comes out, the lion is going to eat him. And now he is hanging on this branch. And then branch is also breaking because 2 rats are eating. One black rat and a white rat. It is nothing but day and night. They are all symbolic. And now this honeycomb has been knocked off. So honey is dripping. And what is this fellow doing? He is licking out his tongue to get... Now what will you call this person? This is our condition. Every day we are finding people dying. Still somewhere we feel that no, I will not die. What is so special about you? When we attend the funeral, the dead body is lying there. We happily offer flowers and come. But a time is going to come when I will also be lying down like this. My dear and dear ones will come. That thought doesn't pass through the mind. So this happiness which is said here, if I am already happy, this happiness is not the happiness of wisdom. This happiness is the happiness of insensitivity. And insensitivity is a tamasic quality. You are not able to see the pain. If you are not able to feel the pain, then that heart is a stone heart. In spirituality, we never glorify a stone heart. A sensitive mind which is miserable is far better than an insensitive mind. Rajas is always better than tamas. So this happiness which is mentioned here, not bothered about by cycle of birth and death, etc., it is not to be glorified as the happiness of wisdom. It is not a sattvic happiness, it is a tamasic happiness. Recently, I don't know how many of you have read that news. That Syria, Azad, he had this burial ground. They discovered it. Around, I think, 200,000 or 300,000 people have been tortured and killed there. And some of them who came out of that slaughterhouse, the torture house, they were narrating how they were tortured. So one person was saying, he was hung, handcuffed, legs hanging for days together. Just imagine the suffering of that person. Another person, all this, the drilling machine. With a drilling machine, they would drill into that kneecap. These were the ways in which they were tortured. 2 iron plates, it would come together and the person's body will be crushed. I am telling all this to make you sensitive. When you read all this, when you see all this, are you feeling a pain? If you are feeling a pain, congratulations. That means you have a heart. Otherwise, in the place of that heart, there is a stone there. Nothing is happening to me, even if I see all this. When you go through this, if you say, then truly you are a sattvic person, you are an enlightened person. When Jesus was crucified, he said, "Oh Lord, forgive them, they don't know what they do." Yes, that is wisdom. When somebody is going through pain, if nothing happens to me, that is tamasic attitude. If I am going through pain and nothing happens to me, yes, that is to be congratulated. So what I am trying to say is this. I am already happy. You are happy because you are an idiot. Ignorance is bliss. Don't glorify that ignorance. Because it is basically a blister only. Ignorance can never be bliss. It is only insensitivity of the mind. So therefore, anyone who is born in this world, you will find that in this world there is only sorrow and suffering. A sensitive mind will know that. Birth is sorrow, death is sorrow. Old age is sorrow, disease is sorrow. Tell me one good thing in this world. And moreover, Bhagavan himself says this, Dukkhalayam, Ashashvatam, everything in this world is impermanent. Whole life you are working hard, earning everything. At the time of death, everything is taken away from you. Your near and dear ones, your bank balance, your house, whatever you have earned, everything is gone. That body which you have been pampered day and night, what happens to that body? It is taken away. You call it joy? It is dukkhalayam only. It is from here the feeling of mumukshutvam comes. I want to get rid of this mess. Is there any way in which I can put an end to this pain permanently? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare kripaya pare pahi mora. Bhagavan, save me from this. Even if I come out of this after death, again I have to come back. Janani jathare shayanam. Coming back to the womb of the mother. Again go through suffering. Again come back. Bhagavan, when can I come out of this mess? When that cry comes from the depth of your heart, then Bhagavan's blessing comes. So therefore the point is this. If you are seeing bliss, there is some problem with you. You see, that means you are stuck in the initial pleasure. The world is designed in such a way that there is an initial pleasure and a permanent pain. That's how the world is designed. Just like a junk food. Junk food, what is the first stage? Joy. What is the second stage? Suffering. But if you are seeing only the initial pleasure and not seeing the final pain, that means your vision is defective. You are an immature person, insensitive person. Don't glorify your insensitive as wisdom of the wise sages. That piece is different, this piece is different. One piece is born out of insensitivity, the other piece is born out of perfect wisdom. So this clarity has to be there. Am I clear? So what makes one become mumukshu? When you see suffering and when you feel that pain, feel that suffering. When everybody suffers, whenever you read this report, you should put yourself there. When a person has gone through suffering, if I were to be in that state, how I would have. So that suffering is the one which brings out this great virtue called mumukshutvam. I want to put an end to this. And then comes sadhana, everything else. Right. Continuing. Question number 7. What faculty gains the knowledge of tattva? If it is the mind or intellect, what happens when the person loses mental abilities, like in psychological problems or loss of memory? Yeah, this is a good question. The question is, if suppose there is an enlightened person, what happens if there is some psychological problem? Will he still continue to experience that knowledge? You see, we have to understand one thing. The highest state is a state where consciousness is knowing itself. Now, for the consciousness to know itself, is mind needed? Yes or no? For the consciousness to know itself, is mind needed? No. Why? Because knowing is the nature of consciousness. Sat, Chit, Anand. Knowing, awareness, consciousness. That is the nature of consciousness. For consciousness to be aware of itself, no mind is necessary. In fact, mind borrows the ability from consciousness to become conscious. It is a borrowed ability. As far as consciousness is concerned, it doesn't need a mind. Exactly like to know my own existence, do I need eyes, ears, nose, tongue, etc.? Suppose all these 5 organs are taken away from me. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. All the indriyas, jnanendriyas are taken away from me. Will I experience myself? Yes. Because I don't need sense organs to know myself. In the same way, even if the mind is taken away, if I have trained myself in abiding myself, if my identification is with consciousness, then I don't need the mind to experience my own perfect nature. So therefore, it doesn't matter what happens to the mind. Exactly like you see the pole vault example. You take the pole, run, and then as the pole straightens up, you climb. After that, what do you do? Now, in that example, that person falls on the other side. Let us modify that example a little. Suppose this person is climbing onto a terrace of a building. No falling after that. Then, after reaching the terrace, does he need the pole? He climbs, leaves the pole, reaches the terrace. After that, the pole is not needed. In the same way, mind is that pole. At present, the mind is impure and extroverted. So, identified with this impure extroverted mind, consciousness is going out, paying attention to the outer world. So, what is the first step? First step is not going within, because you can't go within because the mind is going out. Purify the mind. A pure mind effortlessly goes within. So, consciousness identified with the pure mind goes within. So then what happens? Now once the consciousness has gone within, it is able to see itself. It is able to pay attention to itself. Now it knows itself. Once it has known itself, the role of the mind is over. That's why Ramana Maharshi says, Manasam tu kim margane krute naiva manasam marga arjavat. When you inquire into the mind disappears. Mind disappears means what? Consciousness abides in itself. Now the role of the mind is over. The purpose of the mind is to take consciousness to itself. Once it is done, the role of mind is over. It becomes silent. A silent mind is a no mind. Did I answer? Okay. Question number 8. In the definitions of Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira, in both places, it is said they are Sat Karma Janyam, born out of good actions. As we know, the birth and death are spoken in reference to gross body, and subtle body leaves the gross body and continues its journey. If birth doesn't apply to subtle body, what does Sat Karma Janya mean for it? We understood it as a subtle body getting a human gross body because of good actions. Is that correct? See, this term Sat Karma Janyam has to be understood. I don't remember whether I had given that talk. In that talk I had mentioned. Sat Karma doesn't mean good action. Doesn't only mean good action. Sat means existing. Did I say that in that talk? No. Tattvabodha talk, I don't remember. That talk was given long back, 15 years back. So I don't remember. Sat Karma Janya means Sat Karma. One meaning is good action. But in that context, more appropriate meaning will be existing action. Sat also means existing. So it need not be good. Because then it becomes a general definition for all the beings. Because all beings are born because of actions only. So Satkarma Janya means born because of good action. So here, born doesn't mean taking physical birth. Born means as a result of. As a result of action, Sukshma Sharira is born. So our mind is a product of our actions also. So whatever we do, that impression is carried in the mind also. So mind and the body, they are the result of our action. That is the meaning there. Not that it takes birth. Clear? Right. Next question. Another question on Satkarma Janya. What actions are considered good actions? So that answers this. that would result in human birth. So what are the actions that will result in human birth? Those actions which you do, or those desires you entertain, those desires which cannot be fulfilled in any other birth. For example, if you desire non-veg item, then human birth is not a good birth. A lion's birth or a tiger's birth is better. You get farm fresh flesh. But suppose you are desiring devotion, dispassion, meditation, if you are desiring self-knowledge, then Bhagavan has no choice but to give you human birth. And not only human birth. Prapya punyakritam lokan ushitva shashwati samaha shuchinam srimatam gehe yoga bhrashtaha abhijayate. Then you will get birth in a prosperous family, cultured family. If that has to happen, then better entertain desires for self-knowledge, desires for liberation. Clear? Okay. Next one. Siddhartha-ji. Who is Siddhartha-ji? Okay. So Siddhartha-ji has just joined the satsangs. Summer of 2024 means which year? I mean which month? July, August. So you are a newborn baby now in the path of spirituality. Okay. So now, keeping that in mind, you have to understand this question. So question number 10. We Hindus believe in rebirth and living a good life without constant and unending, unfulfilled needs for sensual pleasures that would trigger rebirths. Now I have many Christian, Muslim and Jewish friends. How does Hinduism address their fate, their futures? Are they also subject to the same rebirth cycle? You see, cosmos has only one law for everyone. It doesn't matter whether you are a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu. It doesn't matter. In the eyes of cosmos, all these divisions don't exist. Sun, is it same for Christian, Muslim, Hindus? Sun, it's the same. Moon is the same. Value of truth, is it same? It is the same. What are we suffering from in life? You see a Christian movie or a Muslim movie or a Jewish movie. In all these movies, the subject matter of discussion will be kama, krodha, lobha, moha, madamatsari. Yes or no? Lust, anger, greed, selfishness, ego. This is the content of all movies all over the world. Means what? Problems are the same. You see? So therefore, laws are the same and the value system is also the same. Humility is appreciated everywhere. Ego is criticized everywhere. Isn't it? So therefore, these are all superficial divisions. Our basic problem is the same. So whenever Vedanta talks about something, our Hindu scriptures talk about something, it is not talking only for Hindu. That is why it is called Sanatana. Eternal it is. As long as the world exists, these things will remain. And therefore, as long as the world exists, the solution is also the same. In Satyuga also, the great rishis, they try to know their own self. In Kali Yuga also, that alone is the permanent solution for all your problems. And this solution is the same solution for everyone, irrespective of who you are. Clear? Yes. Next question. Most of the questions are in this line only. It is quite likely that there is life in human or other forms in the cosmos, apart from our solar system and Milky Way. Does this rebirth cycle apply to them? Could we on Earth be reborn elsewhere in the cosmos? Possible. But how does it matter? Bhagavan is called Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayaka. Ananta Koti means how much? Ananta means infinite. Koti means crores. Infinite crores of cosmos. Remember, one cosmos is what? Whatever you see, trillions of light years away, whatever you see, that also belongs to this cosmos. Okay? This is one cosmos. Like this, multiple cosmos. Why not? all-powerful, all-knowing God, what is impossible for him? Is it possible I may be born in some other cosmos? Why not? But the problems will be the same. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. You will not be troubled because you are born in this cosmos or that cosmos. Your trouble will be this only. The few people who are around you, they will be your troublemakers. And the solution is the same. In whichever cosmos you are born, what is the solution? Know yourself as you are. God is seated right in your heart. Know it and be free from all miseries. Clear? Okay. Next question. Some form of human beings existed in earth in Africa some 200,000 years ago. But the origins of Hinduism are probably 5,000 years ago. Did that same Hindu principles apply to those early Homo sapiens some 200,000 years ago? This has been answered. Hindu principles are same. That is why it is called Sanatana. Sanatana means what? Eternal. Actually, they are not Hindu principles. They are principles. Fire is hot. It is a truth. It is not Hindu truth or a Christian truth. In the same way, whatever we are discussing in the scripture, it has nothing to do with any religion. It is truth. It is not the philosophy of some person. It is not something which somebody thought about and then he found out. No. Truth is truth. Full stop. You have to know it as it is. So though we say Hindu principles, actually it has nothing to do with Hinduism. It has only to do with humanity. Right. We Hindus believe that God appeared in human form as Rama, Krishna, that are described in the epics. Is it possible that God will appear again in human form again? Why not? He can come anytime. Are some of the holy people in recent times that have strong followings, are they gods in human form? Could there be others living now, like the Buddhist Dalai Lama, that are reincarnations of God? You see, there is no way in which you can prove a person to be an avatar of God. There is no way. Why there is no way? That avatar of God also comes in a human form. And that human form also does the same thing which we do. At the body level, that body is made of 5 elements. This body is also made of 5 elements. That body is also consciousness. This body is also has consciousness. So in what way is it different? So laboratorily, you cannot prove a human being as avatar or not. You can't. Because content is the same. What is the only difference? The only difference is knowledge. That person knows that he is not the body. I think that I am the body. Now knowledge, how can you prove through scientific experiments? One person is knowledgeable, other is not. That is the only difference. So therefore, it is impossible to prove who is an avatar and who is not an avatar. But then there is one thing. If you believe somebody to be an avatar, that will help you. Remember, it is purely based on faith. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was an avatar. Followers said it. So now, this belief that my guru is an avatar will help me. Because then I will blindly follow my teacher and definitely that person will take me out to liberation. But remember, you cannot prove anything. It is strictly based on faith. This faith will protect you. Because yad yadacharati shreshtaha tattat eva itaraha janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokaha tad anuvartate. Whomever I consider my role model, I start blindly following that person. So if I consider such enlightened people as role model, then my progress in the spiritual path is very fast. I will not be distracted. Sometimes my guru may not be an avatar, but still if I consider him to be an avatar, I am blessed. You understand? But nobody can prove it. Who is an avatar, who is not an avatar. It's strictly based on faith. Right. Scientists view the beginning of the universe as the Big Bang. What is your thinking on the Big Bang? I have not studied Big Bang, so therefore I cannot comment on it. Generally, I don't study the philosophies given by scientists. What the scriptures say, I stick to it. Because every time one scientist comes, he puts a philosophy. After 100 years, another scientist comes, he refutes that philosophy, he puts his philosophy. This goes on. So what is Big Bang? I cannot comment on it because I have not done some. I've heard something that some explosion happened and it's expanding, something like that. But it appears very illogical to me. But I will not comment because I have not gone into detail. That is my personal opinion. How was Narayana involved in the Big Bang? That you have to ask Narayana.
I expected Ashokji just to pick one of the questions.
Oh.
I didn't expect him to put all the questions in there. So I feel kind of embarrassed that all these questions are being aired.
But then you should have given one question.
No,
How can Ashokji choose one question among this?
Because I thought he'd pick the best one of them.
There is nothing called best and worst. Any question is a question because it's a confusion.
That's true.
And once it comes in front of me, I will read it. What is one thing would you recommend I focus on to improve myself in my spiritual journey that has more or less begun at my current age of 68 when I joined Chinmay Yamunotri in the summer of 2024? What is the one thing I should improve upon? Go on attending satsang. The greatest strength in this world, greatest blessing is right thinking. And right thinking comes only through satsang. Satsangatve nisangatvam, nisangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivan mukti. Everything starts with satsang. Satsang teaches you how to think. It gives you right understanding. And what is the greatest right understanding? That Lord whom I am searching out is right there in my heart. Experiencing that divinity residing in one's own heart is the greatest achievement. And that comes only through satsang. So that one thing you have to focus. Very important. Okay, question number 16 from Mahadevji. Who is Mahadevji? Oh, it's you. You are Mahadev or Mahadevi? Mahadevi. So it's a printing mistake here. How to observe negative thoughts without judgment? What do you mean by judgment? Because the judgment, everybody is using judgment without. Actually, what exactly do you mean?
I mean, it's painful
without getting
thoughts.
disturbed. Without getting disturbed. How to observe negative thought without getting disturbed?
Like how to observe thoughts without judgment. Judging, is it good or bad?
Negative thought is negative. It is bad. Definitely it is bad.
How to cross over it, Swamiji?
You see, negative thoughts, they are the effect of a cause. What is the cause? Wrong understanding is the cause. Negative thoughts are the effect. There is a karya karana sambandha, cause-effect relationship. If my understanding is wrong, the result of that wrong understanding is negative thoughts. For example, I hate someone. I am jealous of somebody. This is a negative thought. Okay. Now, where is that negative thought coming from? That negative thought is coming from this wrong notion that that person is different, I am different. That person is that body, I am this body. So from this wrong notion comes a negative thought. So if all the negative thoughts are coming from wrong understanding, so how to put an end to negative thoughts? Develop right understanding. Got it? Wherever there is right understanding, thoughts will be good, noble and pure. Wherever there is wrong understanding, there will be negative thoughts.
Swamiji, when I sit to meditate, sometimes my own past things have come, Like it comes.
Regrets of the past.
Regrets.
Ah.
So suddenly the senses also getting disturbed.
Yes.
But don't know how to.
Come out of it.
Yes.
You see, keep this in mind. In this world, everybody evolves only after committing mistakes. Therefore, learn to forgive yourself. There is nobody in this world who is born perfect and dies perfect. Impossible. So therefore, we have come to this world to commit mistakes. And in that mistakes, remember, mistakes are committed because there is wrong knowledge. So with wrong knowledge, you have wrong desires. With wrong desires, you will have wrong actions. Wrong actions will give wrong results. Wrong results will disturb the mind. And this disturbance must make you introspect. Where did I go wrong? And then you understand, oh, this is the place where I went wrong. Correct it. Then again follow the cycle. Life is meant for that. So therefore, whenever you have done some mistake, do some prayaschitta karma. Bhagwan, I am really sorry. Such a place I did a mistake. So therefore, as a prayaschitta karma, purificatory act, I do this. Maybe some fasting, or maybe some feeding somebody, some poor orphans or something. Do some prayaschitta karma and move on. Don't hang on to that thing. So this is called as right understanding. Yes.
So when to observe all the thoughts and when to sit and correct it. So what is the time difference? Like allow all the thoughts to flow at a stretch, or
See, remember one thing. At this stage, you will never be able to observe. Don't try to observe. By observing, nothing is going to happen. Where am I wrong? If a negative thought is coming, go to the root. Without right understanding, negative thoughts will go on. Just by observing your negative thoughts, witnessing your negative thought, nothing is going to happen. If just by observing the thoughts, if problems can be solved, what is the need of studying scriptures? No study of scripture is just sit. Watch your breath, watch your thoughts. What is the use? Right understanding is absolutely a must. When right understanding comes, slowly you will find that all these negative thoughts die down. Because the source of negative thought is wrong understanding. Why am I seeing a snake there? Because I am not seeing a rope. Just by observing the snake, problem is not solved. Bring a torchlight and see, it is a rope.
then and there.
Yes.
Right away when that.
Yes. Study the scriptures. What is the right understanding? Where am I going wrong? So that is a torchlight of wisdom. You see with the torchlight, you see the rope. After that, even if the torch is switched off, you have seen the rope. Will you be scared of the rope? That wrong notion of snake goes away.
Yes, Swamiji, want to get more clarified. There are so many snakes I'm seeing. So which? That's
All of them are rope.
So attend one snake one time.
Yes. See, what happens is there are so many snakes you are seeing. How many torch you want? How many torch you want?
One torch.
One torch. That is scripture. As long as there is no light, you will go on seeing snakes only everywhere. Not so many snakes. Throughout your life, you will see only snakes. And one torch is enough. And that is called as study of the scripture. That is why we are giving so much of focus on study class and satsangs and all that. As that clarity comes, that is a light. More and more clarity, more and more that your thinking becomes right. All these confusions, delusions, suffering, misery, they just disappear.
Thank you so much.
Right. See, Bhagavan himself has taken avatar for what? Not to kill one Kamsa. To kill one Kamsa, one lightning is enough. You don't have to take avatar. Bhagavan took avatar to give this knowledge of Gita. And what is Gita? The essence of the scriptures. You see? That much importance Bhagavan says in the 18th chapter, anyone who studies this, spread this knowledge, such a person is my greatest devotee. That's what he says in the 18th chapter. All our suffering is because of this confusion in the mind. And the only way to get rid of it is through right knowledge. Right? Okay. Upadesha Sara study group, Sunday. Question number 1. In Upadeshasara, various sadhanas such as selfless action, ritualistic puja, japa, contemplation, etc. are prescribed as a means to self-realization. The order goes from ritualistic worship to non-dual contemplation. Each one is said to be superior to the previous one. For example, japa is superior to ritualistic worship. Contemplation is superior to japa, and so on. Do we have to start practicing them in the same order as prescribed in the book? One may not be inclined to do puja, but can do japa. Is it recommended to go through each stage in the same order? The answer is no. You don't have to go through the same stage. You see, in earlier days, puja was very common. So father is doing puja, the son sees father doing puja, he also sits there, and slowly he develops a taste for puja. So once upon a time, puja was done everywhere. So therefore they started with puja. Nowadays, rarely people do puja. But one thing is for sure, who is this Upadeshasara group, by the way? Okay. Or group question. So therefore, it is not necessary that you have to start with puja. But one thing is for sure, any sadhana will be starting from a gross level. It starts with gross, ends in subtle. Any sadhana. It need not be puja, but there is a gradation from gross to subtle. For example, if you are not doing puja, you can do watching the breath. This is another one. So in the beginning, what you do? You just watch your breath. In, out. In, out. A very gross thing. Everybody can do. But a very boring thing. Every sadhana will have some or the other defect. Okay. Every gross thing will have some or the other defect. That is also fine. Another way is selfless seva. Work. Do selfless activity. That is also very gross. So whether it is gross work or watching the breath or puja, somewhere you have to start from the gross. If you want to climb the mountain, where you have to start from? You can't start from the peak. You have to stand from the base only. The base of the mountain. So somewhere from the gross level you start, and slowly you become more and more sensitive. The mind becomes more and more concentrated. The mind becomes more and more pure. Only in such a pure, concentrated mind, higher truths will be revealed. And only when higher truths are revealed, you can enter into that what you call space. With a gross, extroverted, sensuous mind, you can do no serious meditation. To do meditation, mind has to be pure, mind has to be single-pointed, concentrated. Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata is absolutely essential. How you cultivate it, choice is yours. Whether it is watching breath, or whether it is doing some seva, or whether it is puja, choice is yours. But concentration and purity is absolutely a must. Clear? Any further question? Yes. That I'll be reading it.
The text goes to the higher form, which is contemplation of non-dual.
Non-dual and dual.
Yeah.
That I will read.
Oh.
In verse 8 of Upadeshasara, the non-dual contemplation is said to be superior to the contemplation with duality, where God is different from me. We can understand non-duality or Advaita as philosophy, but how can one make the object of contemplation as themselves? So the question is, in Upadeshasara it's very clearly said, there are two types of meditation, Abheda Bhavana and Bheda Bhavana. Considering God as separate from me, this is Bheda Bhavana. The second one is considering God as myself, Abheda Bhavana. In this, Abheda Bhavana is superior to Bheda Bhavana. Now please understand this. Abheda Bhavana may be superior. But just because something is superior, I cannot directly climb onto superior thing. Start with inferior, then you become qualified to practice the superior. That is why this question has come. How can I do Abheda Bhavana meditation? You cannot do. Start with Bheda Bhavana only. Start with Dasoham, then you become fit to practice Soham. Dasoham is the way. That is called as dual meditation. I am different from God. Start from there. That is the only way. Aham Brahmasmi is not the first step. What is the first step? Aham Shunyosmi. Bhagavan, I am a nobody. I am nothing. You are everything. Please bless me. So then what will happen? Ego is completely effaced. When the ego is effaced, God's grace descends. With God's grace, you are able to meditate upon Him as your own self. So though Ramana Maharshi has said that this is superior, that is superior doesn't mean directly jump into that. Even Ramana Maharshi himself started from the lower one. From the lower alone you can go to the higher. You can't directly jump into the higher. Because for the higher, what is the qualification necessary? Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata. Concentration and purity. The lower gives you concentration and purity, and then you become fit to go to the highest. Right. What will happen after self-realization? After self-realization, you will no more exist to ask this question. The questioner disappears. So therefore I don't have to answer this question. After realization you come to me. If you still survive, you can ask this question. If you survive, then that is not self-realization. It is self-delusion. What will happen after self-realization? After realization, one is said to be freed from cycle of birth and death. What will happen to them if they are not born again? There is no need to be born again. You know yourself as Sat Chit Anand. The ego is completely dead. It is the ego which is born again and again. And what happens after self-realization? This little self is dead. It is gone. There is a state of existence, a state of consciousness. Time and space vanishes. The concept of time and space goes away. Just like sleep, in deep sleep. All your confusions, what happens in deep sleep? That person who has confusion is no more there. What happens to time and space? So exactly like deep sleep, but suppose you are consciously, intensely aware. That is that state. Samadhi sthiti and sushupti sthiti, they are similar. Only thing is, in one state, you don't know anything. In the other state, it is pure awareness. Tamas and sattva, they appear to be same. But there's a huge difference, like 0 degree and 360 degree. Both appear to be the same, but there's a huge difference. 0 degree has not yet started the journey. 360 degree has ended the journey. But both appear to be the same. In the same way, Sushupti and Samadhi. Okay. During Pralaya, all the jivas go into their causal body. Again, during creation, do they get their life and body based on the past karma, or they have to go through the evolution of going from plant life to animal life to human life? No. Wherever you have stopped in the previous creative cycle, from there you continue. You don't have to go through the plant life, and that is horrible then. Every time you start from the beginning, that's horrible. So therefore, whatever spiritual effort we are putting, and after that let us assume Pralaya comes. Don't worry, wherever you are, from there you will continue your journey. So no effort is wasted. No attainment is wasted. That is the assurance given by Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita. Right. Thus all the questions have come to an end. On time. We have 5 minutes if you have asked.
Any questions?
Yes, Dattaji, Sri Datt.
So thank you very much, Swamiji. My question is about sadhana, nididhyas, but it's more trying to understand while going there, the contemplation piece, there is this thing coming as a sakshi bhav and trying to understand the sakshi bhav. So it is said that sakshat ikshate iti sakshi and all these things with upadhi. Jiva is also illuminated and sakshi is the illuminator of it. And my question is, in the practice of nididhyasan, is there any way we can leverage this, or is just a concept to say that just to try to make you understand, it's more like an intellectual concept, or can we make use of that in the nididhyasan practice somehow?
Your question is, can we experience it?
Or can we use it? Because I'm going from, say, Jiva Bhav to the Satchitananda Bhav. Is there a Sakshi thing in between there somewhere where I can say, okay, here it's Jiva Bhav is individual, but Sakshi is universal. And then I'm going to the Satchitananda, which is even beyond that, something like that. So is it something...
You have to start with Sakshi only. You can't directly go into Satchitananda. You will experience it as Sakshi. The more and more you start abiding in that Sakshi, Sakshi is actually Satchidananda only. With respect to your thoughts, it is a Sakshi. But actually it is Bhagavan only. Sakshi means what? Observer. So only when there is something to be observed, then his name is observer. But as you start going more and more there, as you start abiding in that state alone remains. Then after that he is no more Sakshi, because there is nothing to observe. But that transitory stage, intermediate stage, yes, his name is Sakshi.
Does Sakshi will have upadhis also there? Is like something like condition or like
Sakshi
a ghata?
is watching you. You will find that there is some entity watching you. And you know that that entity is not you. It is higher than you, divine in you, different from you, unaffected by you. As an entity there. That is the experience. Your job is just pay attention. Never forget that presence. That is the whole sadhana.
The bigger I.
Yes, the bigger I.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Hari Om Swamiji. Can you expound? I was having this discussion with somebody last evening. Why did Bhagavan create Maya? And, I have my limited understanding. I tried to explain to him, but if you can expound on that in our journey to purify the mind, in our journey towards self-realization. Thank you.
The purpose of Maya is to take ourselves to ourselves. Our job in life is only one, to know myself as I am. That is the purpose of Maya. What is the purpose of womb? To prepare the child for the outer world, isn't it? In the same way, this is a big womb. The purpose of womb is not to die in the womb. The purpose of womb is to come out of the womb. So when do we come out of the womb? When I know myself as I am, the purpose of womb is solved. And after that there is no more womb. Maya means that which doesn't exist. It appears to exist. Appearance or the projection, the purpose of projection is over once the jiva is taken to its own true nature. When the ignorance ends, knowledge dawns, the purpose of this projection is over. So many ways it can be explained actually. But this is basically the thing. You see that BMI chart? All this BMI, OET, PFT, everything, they are all Maya only. Only one thing which is out of Maya is Om. So why are we going through all this experience? Consciously or unconsciously, all this experience has only one goal: to take ourselves to this reality, which is our own self. Purpose of Maya is only that. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Swamiji, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the session. I'm visiting from outside and I really am blessed to be here. You mentioned when you need guidance, you look at scriptures. In our dharma, there's so many scriptures. What is your scripture? Like, what is your torch? Like you said, what when you say scripture, what are you referring to?
See, if you are a very busy person, then I suggest Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, there are so many scriptures. Srimad Bhagavatam is there, Ramayanam is there, Mahabharatam is there. So many scriptures are there. All scriptures are. See, how many torch do you need to see the path? The question asked Ramana Maharshi, how many scriptures should we study? Ramana Maharshi said, how many mirrors do you want to see yourself? One mirror is sufficient. But it should be a proper mirror, not a convex mirror or a concave mirror. Then you will see something else. Study one scripture properly. That is more than sufficient. But our suggestion is Bhagavad Gita, because it is the essence of all Upanishads. And just 700 verses. More than enough. We'll wind up then? After winding up. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.